Welcome in, everyone. Today, we are unpacking an absolute masterclass in corporate accountability. When we were prepping for today, the note from the team was literally, "Làm video từ nguồn file clip 030," which means we are building this entire explainer directly from the source files of clip 030. We are talking about the highly anticipated season finale of the hit series Office Drama Stories. In this Biphontic, we're looking at the culmination of 30 episodes of tension, stolen credit, and incredibly toxic office politics. But you know what makes this finale so brilliant? It isn't loud shouting matches. It's not some dramatic boardroom flip. It's actually the hushed, slow-burn tension of a single encrypted digital file. We're going to look at how a company's darkest secrets were finally dragged into the light, and more importantly, how the characters actually chose to rebuild afterward. After every lie was exposed, one folder remained unopened. Man, just let that sink in for a second. Throughout our Biphontic today, we are going to explore the profound danger of institutional cover-ups and the very real human cost of toxic politics. Because think about it. When we look at corporate scandals, whether they are fictionalized like this one or happening right now in the real world, the truth almost never comes out all at once, right? It's peeled back in layers. And in this story, the independent board audit has stripped away almost everything, leaving just one final, incredibly stubborn mystery. Section 1. The final hidden folder, a ticking bomb. Okay, let's dive into this. The independent audit had been just tearing through the company's records until suddenly they hit a total brick wall. They find this encrypted folder sitting on the servers, ominously titled Legacy Hold. Nobody knows who created it, and absolutely nobody knows the password. Its very existence in the middle of a massive audit is literally like a ticking bomb, holding on to one ultimate confession. So how do they get in? Well, this is where the brilliant irony of corporate systems comes into play. Step 1, the audit is blocked. But step 2, that's the breakthrough. Nina, the executive assistant, actually finds the recovery phrase. And guess where it was? It was buried inside a year-old, completely mundane onboarding email template. It was hidden in plain sight, right where no executive would ever bother to look. The very administrative system that enabled the leadership to cover up their tracks accidentally preserved the key to their undoing. And that leads directly to step 3, where the entire timeline of leadership's knowledge is completely exposed. As Jordan, the IT audit specialist, perfectly summarizes, everything else is noise if this folder says what I think it says. This really highlights the incredible stakes of this moment. In the modern workplace, speeches, excuses, verbal promises, they mean very little when the chips are down. What actually matters are digital footprints. Digital records translate office rumors into undeniable mathematical proof. Jordan knows for a fact that whatever is behind that encryption is going to change the entire power dynamic of the company. Section 2. Exposing the corporate cover-up. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what was actually inside that folder, because it wasn't just gossip. It was a highly organized archive of decision memos, risk notes, and documented timelines. It provided undeniable proof that leadership absolutely knew about the toxic behavior, the stolen credit, and the faked KPIs way before they ever admitted to it. Maya Carter, our protagonist and strategy lead, looks at this evidence and realizes this was never one bad actor. It was a habit with signatures. I mean, what a monumental shift in perspective. So often, toxic workplaces try to scapegoat one single person, right? The whole bad apple theory. But Maya realizes that the isolated drama she and her colleagues suffered through was actually an institutional pattern. It was a toxic culture literally authorized by ink and paper. And this realization forces a massive clash in the boardroom, representing two entirely different philosophies of corporate governance. On the one hand, we have Victor, who strongly believes that control, quiet settlements, and sweeping things under the rug are just the hard decisions necessary to keep a company alive. Countering him is Elise, representing a completely different worldview. She argues that a company isn't truly alive if its people have to disappear or suffer just for it to look healthy on paper. Her philosophy is devastatingly simple. Survival without integrity is just delay. Section 3. Choosing systems over revenge. Ultimately, Elise's philosophy wins out, offering Maya the remarkable opportunity to lead the culture correction for the entire company. Now, given everything Maya has been through over the previous 29 episodes, the stolen credit, the gaslighting, the manipulation, a lot of people expected her to demand a total bloodbath. They expected her to want punishments, firings, public humiliation for everyone who wronged her. But instead, she delivers this absolute showstopper of a line. Revenge ends a chapter. Systems prevent a sequel. Let's just sit with that for a moment. This is profound. Maya recognizes that focusing on petty payback might feel good in the short term, but it does absolutely nothing to fix the soil the company is actually built on. Firing one bad boss doesn't matter if the corporate structure just promotes another one right behind them. She actively chooses future prevention over personal retribution. So the crucial point is how she actually implements this. Instead of demanding heads on a platter, Maya demands a checklist of administrative rules. Look at these demands: credit protocols, audit logs, whistleblower protection, clean KPI governance, client transparency. These aren't flashy. They won't make for a dramatic movie scene, but honestly, that is exactly the point. True culture change doesn't happen through dramatic boardroom shouting matches. It happens through boring, repeatable, mandatory habits. Section 4. The true human cost. Before we can fully appreciate this new system, the story brilliantly forces us to slow down and acknowledge why these systems are necessary in the first place. The focus shifts to the former employees, the junior analysts, and the client teams who were burned by the old regime. They are invited to submit impact statements, reminding us that abstract misconduct has a very real, very human cost. It's just so easy to look at corporate data, KPI reports, and audit logs and totally forget that real lives are attached to those numbers. By bringing these characters back to give their impact statements, the narrative returns dignity to the people who were pushed aside, manipulated, and fired in earlier episodes just to protect the executives. It really grounds this whole corporate thriller in deep human empathy. Listen to this absolutely powerful statement from one of the former junior analysts. "I thought I failed. Now I know the scoreboard was rigged." Man, this directly connects the fictional world of Legacy Hold to a very real-world workplace reality. So many good, hardworking people internalize the failures of a toxic workplace. They think they aren't smart enough or capable enough, when in reality, the truth was just buried by someone higher up. Hearing that the game was rigged all along is a moment of immense, almost tragic validation. Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 5. The quiet power of accountability. How does a company actually clean house once the truth is out? Do the executives get dragged out by security guards while dramatic music plays in the background? No way. The reality is much colder and honestly much more effective. Consequence is not spectacle. It is record, repair, and removal of access. We see Ethan, the former rising star who built his entire career on stealing credit, totally stripped of his power. But there's no big villain speech. There's no dramatic music. We literally just see an empty chair, a cleared desk, and a nameplate tossed into a cardboard box. True accountability, it turns out, is refreshingly quiet. As the narrator of the series observes, sometimes accountability is not loud. Sometimes it is an empty badge slot. I love how this reinforces the contrast here. Think about it. The cover-up required endless loud meetings, frantic late-night phone calls, chaotic group chats. The accountability requires absolutely none of that. The system simply revokes your access and you are gone. And this brilliantly illustrates the immediate cultural shift under Maya's new leadership. We get to see the very first corrected strategy meeting. Look at the new rules they have in place. Every idea is credited by name. Every assumption is visible. Every decision owner is documented. Maya explicitly states, if it matters, we write it. If someone built it, we name them. The secretive, whispered conversations of the past are completely eradicated by blinding administrative transparency. So, what actually happens to that ticking bomb, the legacy hold folder? Well, Maya decides to archive it under independent control. She intentionally chooses not to keep a copy for her own leverage. As she says, the point was never to hold the company hostage. It was to make the truth safe. She proves right here, once and for all, that her ultimate goal is lasting governance. She doesn't want a permanent corporate Cold War. She just wants a workplace where people can do their jobs without constant fear. Which brings us to the core lesson summarizing this entire incredible 30-episode arc. Integrity is not a mood, it is a system you build before the next storm. The opening of that last folder didn't automatically fix everything or end the drama permanently. What it did was end the excuse that nobody knew. It forced the company to stop relying on the temporary mood of its leaders and start relying on the unbending rules of a transparent system. It's such a fascinating look at the mechanics of corporate culture, and it leaves us with a question that extends far beyond the screen. Think about your own professional environment right now, your own team, your own leadership. Is your workplace built on temporary secrets or permanent systems? It's definitely a question worth asking before the next storm hits. Thank you so much for joining me for this Bye Fintech, and hey, keep questioning the systems around you.